You didn't do it because you were smart. You did it because your coworker Marcus wouldn't stop talking about it over lunch in January 2015. And setting up the automatic bank transfer took 6 minutes, and then you went back to your desk and didn't think about it again for a very long time. That is the whole story, except it isn't. The $100 leaves your account on the 14th of every month. You don't notice it because you set it up to leave automatically, and automatic things become invisible the same way rent becomes invisible. It just goes, and you adjust to the smaller number without ever consciously deciding to. January 2015. Bitcoin is trading at $280. Your $100 buys you 0.35 Bitcoin. You don't know this. You're not checking. Marcus is still talking about it at lunch, but you've already stopped listening and started thinking about something else. February, March, April. The transfer goes out. The Bitcoin accumulates. You are building something without knowing you're building anything at all. By the end of 2015, you own just under 4 Bitcoin. You have spent $1,200. You have never once logged into the account to look at the number. 2016 passes the same way. The price climbs from $430 in January to $960 in December, and you feel none of it. Your phone never buzzes with a notification because you never downloaded an app. Your portfolio is sitting somewhere in a wallet tied to an email address you only use for account signups, growing quietly like something left in a dark room. You buy a used car this year. You stress about the payments for 3 months. The irony of this will become clear later. 2017 is the year you almost paid attention. Bitcoin hits $10,000 in November, and suddenly it is everywhere. It is on the news your parents watch. It is in a text from your sister asking if you know anything about it. It is on the lips of every person at every holiday party you attend in December, which is how you find out it has now hit $19,000. You think about logging in. You remember the email address. You cannot remember which password you used. You tell yourself you'll figure it out after the holidays. You don't figure it out after the holidays. The price is already falling by then, and somehow the falling makes it easier to forget again. It had felt like something you needed to deal with when it was at $19,000. At $12,000 and dropping it feels like a problem that is solving itself. You are accumulating Bitcoin through all of this. Your automatic transfer does not care about your feelings. It does not care that the price is crashing. On the 14th of every month, it removes $100 from your account and exchanges it for whatever fraction of Bitcoin $100 can buy that day. In December 2018, when Bitcoin bottoms out at $3,200, your $100 buys 0.031 Bitcoin. This is more Bitcoin than your $100 bought in October when the price was $6,500. You don't know this. You are Christmas shopping. By the end of 2019, you have genuinely forgotten it exists. Not suppressed, not avoided. Forgotten the way you forget a library book until you find it under the bed 3 years later. The $100 leaves your account on the 14th, and you are so accustomed to your budget without it that you wouldn't even notice if it stopped. It doesn't stop. March 2020. The world stops. Bitcoin crashes to $4,800 in a single week as every asset on Earth falls apart simultaneously. Investors who had been watching it for years panic sell everything. This is one of the best buying opportunities in Bitcoin's entire history. Your automatic transfer buys at the bottom without you. You are at home, stressed about something completely unrelated, and your account quietly accumulates Bitcoin at prices that will look incomprehensible in 18 months. 2021 arrives, and so does the second time you almost paid attention. Bitcoin passes its 2017 record in January. It hits $40,000, then $50,000, then $60,000. Marcus, who still sits across from you, sends you an article. You read the first 3 paragraphs. You think briefly about the account. You have the thought you always have, I should look into that. And then something interrupts you and the thought dissolves. In November 2021, Bitcoin reaches $69,000. You do not check your account. You are not made of stone. You are just someone whose life is full and whose attention is finite and who set up an automatic transfer 6 years ago and never broke the habit. 2022 is the year Bitcoin falls back to $16,000. FTX collapses in November. Billions of dollars evaporate in days. The news is full of people who lost everything. You watch a segment about it one evening and feel distant from it the way you feel distant from a story about a country you've never been to. The transfer goes out on the 14th. The 10 years end on a Tuesday. You are looking for something in your old email. An ancient receipt, a password recovery, something mundane. And you see it. A confirmation email from January 2015. A Bitcoin exchange you'd forgotten existed. You stare at it for a moment. You remember Marcus. You remember the lunch. You remember the 6 minutes. You find the password in a notebook you use for nothing else. You log in. The page loads slowly, the way pages load when they are about to show you something that rearranges your understanding of the last 10 years. You own just over 6 Bitcoin. At today's price of $95,000 per coin, your account reads $583,000. You have deposited $12,000 over 10 years. You sit completely still for a long time. Not because you're happy, though you are, but because the number doesn't connect to anything you did. You didn't watch charts, you didn't make decisions, you didn't hold through the crashes because you were brave. You held because you forgot you were holding. The money was made entirely in the distance between your attention and your account, in the gap between who you were at the keyboard and who you were at lunch and at Christmas, and in March 2020 worrying about something that has nothing to do with any of this. You open the calculator. $12,000 in, $583,000 sitting there. You close the calculator, you open it again, you text Marcus, you tell him you finally looked at the account. He responds in 30 seconds with a single question. You call him, you tell him the number. There is a silence on the line that lasts long enough for you to hear him exhale. I sold mine in 2018, he says. This is not a story about Bitcoin. It is a story about what happens when you make one small, almost accidental decision and then get out of your own way for long enough to let it become something. The $100 was never going to change your life in month 1, or month 12, or month 40. It changed your life across 10 years of months, none of which felt significant while they were happening, all of which mattered completely. You spent a decade being busy. Time spent the $100 for you.